Oh, well, put on your helmets for this one, boys and girls. This is where it gets a little fun. So today we were going to be breaking down ye old pack here into its three little individual wafers. I guess the only thing I can tell you is you're gonna cause a spark. And if you're not used to working around electricity, especially DC, fortunately I've done a little bit of that in my life, like 20 something years of it. When you make a spark, you may make a little pee-pee. Good news is the voltages we're looking at here and everything. Ooh. You're probably not going to kill yourself, but when these things, when you arc out metal to metal, especially at this voltage, with these kind of batteries and stuff, you can get metal splatter. So, I make sure you got your safety equipment on. Whatever you feel is necessary, I highly suggest. At least the first couple rounds, if you're not used to doing this and, not kind of calm when shit starts sparking, probably want a face mask. Not the Ronita kind, but the kind that covers your face from hot metal. At a minimum, you want something over your eyes the whole time you're doing this. Your eyes, you only got two of them, and they get fucked, they get fucked. So just be careful. So we're gonna break this bad boy down. Do the hardest one first, and in this, we're breaking this down into the three individual little, wafers, pizza boxes, whatever. The plastic shit that holds 4 batteries at a time. That's what we're going to break this down into. We'll get through this one first. This is most of the work. Once we're done with this, then we'll move on to making a bottom and a top. That actually goes pretty fast. So, yeah. So, let's get into her. For all these things, there's really no need to have this proprietary BMS wire here. So, I've just been kind of making some snippy doodles here. Getting rid of all this extra factory equipment that, I'm sure it's not needed. So, let's get that out of the way. For almost all these units that we build, you really don't have to do too much on the back, which is kind of nice. I've been a little skeptical of this board here. Got some LEDs and shit on it, and I just, I don't know. I feel much more confident in the stuff I've been building by just making it go away. So we'll probably skip up the video here in a second, but yeah, I've pretty much just been cutting these bad boys. And I guess while we're doing this, for those of you who are new to DC voltage, unless you've got nice, soft, supple, wet hands, you can touch all this stuff and not get hurt. Like, I can't feel anything. It's not, it doesn't tickle, Now, if I got down here and licked it, probably gonna notice that, but fortunately, it's winter time here in the third world shithole of Indiana, so my hands are nice and dry, and this is no big deal. So, take this. Oh yeah, one other thing. You want to make sure you got a nice, clean work area, because you start pushing this shit around and touching other things that are metal. Yeah, she's gonna spark. And spark hard. So I'm kind of going. Where are you guys at? There you go. So there's 3 layers to this. Cool. There's a bottom that snaps on and a top that snaps on. That's awesome. Then there's some kind of plastic. I don't know if this was. I don't know, but it's like this thing was built, and then they put this like plastic thing on here, and that's what they anchor all their BMS contacts to. So you can kind of get between this this thing that you're seeing here and the pack itself and just kind of pry shit off. We'll get into this a little bit more in a second. There's much faster and easier ways to deal with this. But anyway. So that pops off. Hooray for that. So what I'm going to do is go over to the CNC mill and I'm going to cut down through here exactly the depth that I need to cut this plastic, but not dig into the actual battery cases. And as you might have saw me doing some maintenance on the CNC mill earlier, when you're doing this, just make sure that you keep in mind of all the metal, including things like this. You don't want to bridge these terminals. That's when sparky happens. So, you know, you can cut in here, no big deal. If you're cutting deep enough to get this metal to touch, either you've got a small blade or, you know, hey, everybody's got their own. So anyway, I'm going to make some cuts down through here, cuts down through here, same side, or same thing on the other side. And what that's going to do is free up these little tabs to just kind of be removed. So that's where we're going on this one. Oh, yeah, I kind of skipped a step here. One thing you can do if you're, you know, worried about these wires and these little sensors and stuff, I've already saved enough of these that if they do come in handy later, great. But you can remove them first. You can take this top off if you want to. But I've just found it's, you know, whatever. Just let the CNC get at it. Oh, you guys can't see. Let me just slide it forward here a little bit. There you go. I don't want to cut up my nice Louis Vuitton bench though. Let me set the center on. You know, sometimes the machine, the old Z-axis gets a little crazy, and we'll use something metal. That just seems like a great idea. Let's do that. Put that up there. All right. Cool. So, at this point, we should have some more factory deletes that we can make. Now, I'm going to get this out of the way. This is making me a little nervous. But by the way, this is one of the freebies that comes in the box with these things. So, oh, I guess since you're here, you get a spiffy fan. It's actually two 12-volt fans. I haven't taken the time to figure out if there's counter wires here, or if this is like a low speed, high speed thing. I don't know, but I know when you go like red to black, the thing spins, so that's cool. And one other nice little benefit is you do get a shunt. I haven't quite figured out, actually I haven't taken the time yet, to be honest with you, to figure out what the deal is with it, but guessing pretty hard that's a shunt. And then you get this 12-volt contactor that I haven't taken the time to really split it open yet, but what surprised me is Panasonic. Didn't expect to see that. I will say that these modules, the whole like manufacturing process has really surprised me, because as I've been cutting through 42 of these, they're different. Like there's so many things that are just fucking not the same that it just kind of surprised me. It's no wonder that Mopar's having trouble with these things. So anyway, a lot of cool stuff there. So back to the task at hand. You know, we're just gonna kind of remove some of this shisa that's in our way here. Just try to clean her up a little. Just makes it easier for the next step. So fortunately Doesn't look like the CNC dug into. Oh yeah, she got a little bit there, but not too bad. So this is what I was talking about. This little plastic, I don't know, frame just like sticks on here. So we'll get that out of the way. Make life a little easier later. All right. Cool. So at this point, the back is done. You know, I would like to say that we're 50% done, but no, got a long road ahead. All right. So on the front, essentially what we got to do is, as this tab is like the positive for this little pack, goes down to the back, it's connected to another tab of another pack, and then it comes back up. When it comes back up, it feeds into this guy right here, and then also goes into the next, you know, back and forth, you get it. So, what we got to do is release these tabs from these plastic things, or not plastic, but the metal things where they've mounted their BMS. So, the best way I've found has been the old utility knife. And again, you know, if you're fortunate enough not to have to wear this bullshit, put some on, because you're using a utility knife on top of all these terminals. Shit can happen. It's gonna spark. You know, best case scenario, it just sparks. Worst case scenario, some metal flies up in your face. So, you know, that said, what we're gonna try to do is separate this little 90-degree L-shaped bracket fucking contact thing from the actual tab of the battery. So what I've found is, because these are welded, spot welded in a 3x9, I've found it's much easier to look at the side that has the battery tab on it. That way you can kind of see what your knife is doing. And basically I just want to cut through here and release this tab, the battery tab, from this terminal tab. So kind of going between the tabs, and don't be afraid to use a little, you know, little leverage from the battery itself. Just be mindful of the battery tab. You don't want to put too much force on the battery tab. So once you stick the old, see if you can see that. So I'm sticking the knife between the spot welds. So I'm sliding it in here, making a little space. Then I'm sliding it in here. Oh fuck, this is hard to hold like that. Hold it in here. And then, I don't know if you can see this, but you can actually see the knife starting to cut through where the spot welds are. My intent is to finish with basically this whole thing intact, basically with 3 holes in it. So I'm gonna go through and cut this puppy. All right, so we have released this tab, top of the battery tab, from this little, I don't know, whatever the hell this is called. So now this could be freed from this plastic when we bring this off of here. I'm going to continue doing this for this one here, and then I'm going to turn it and go down and get this bus bar down here, get that bus bar and pull that off. Take your time, you know. The most important thing is don't bridge shit together. You know, you don't want to cause sparkies. For those of you who are nervous, you may want to indulge in a relaxation beverage or consumable of some kind. And like I said about the manufacturing process, you're going to find that some of these welds aren't even complete. Ooh, that was almost bad. But these welds are just barely hooked together. And then you're going to find some where, I don't know if the guy running the robot that day was just pissed off or what, but good Lord. I mean, they're just welded on like nobody's business. So, now if you feel uncomfortable doing this kind of stuff, you can certainly put some electrical tape up in here, you know, whatever, maybe a tampon or something, just to, you know, make yourself feel comfortable. But, you know, the worst that's going to happen is just, you know, you just don't have to deal with bullshit tomorrow, so, you know, whatever. Oh, for fuck's sakes. You may also notice that the aluminum looking ones, I'm sure it's not aluminum, but some kind of shit coated copper, but God, those welds really, really work. Some kind of square wave TIG shit probably, but man, oh man. Oh. You will certainly have sore wrists the next day after doing these bad boys. Unless you know, maybe your day job requires you to have, really high wrist strength. Maybe you're making your money behind Wendy's, I don't know, but oh Lord. The good news is the other ones are not nearly this difficult. You just don't want to go Rambo, just rage out, because these tabs are required. It's what you're going to be using to basically hook the damn batteries together later, so don't just go berserker on this shit. Take your time. If you find one that's just kicking your ass, just go off and do something else, or maybe just come back to it later. All right. Holy Hannah in a helicopter, man. That was pretty crazy. There we go. All right, we got that one loose. That one's loose. That one's loose. One more. It's one of these copper colored looking ones. So chances are she's going to be fairly hazy. Wish that one were. Now you can try when you're buried in her knuckle deep. I'm not going to make the joke about that, but anyway, you can try to twist the blade. I found in some cases it's working pretty good to twist it. She doesn't seem to complain. But when you're twisting it, the knife gets very close. You know, when it finally breaks, it's getting very close to touching those terminals. So, you know, I'm a little worried about that shit. Just saying. All right, meow. So, what I've been doing at this point is getting some of this bullshit out of the way. It's just less stuff for me to, you know, arc out on. So, been using the good old quality snippies. Oh, giving her a cut. Giving her a cut. Okay. What am I doing? I'm cutting the board away from these guys right here. Just a little trace there. Just cutting that away. Then get ye old channel locks. Get a good grip on this mug and just fast, jerking motion. You know, see if you can twist with your back a little bit while you're doing it. I think that's what the doctors want us to do. But you know, just don't be scared to ever just. Oh, I guess I didn't cut her off the board very well. Come to me. There we go. So now we got these battery tabs, and these are what we're going to be working with. So don't F these up. You want these shits to be in good condition. Also, you may notice she's got a little Alabama tooth line up here, maybe some swag. So this is where the old wide mouth vice grips have been coming in pretty handy. Just give them a little squoze there. Straighten them up a little. Once they come out, we can really clean it up even better. So, come around here behind. I've found that the heavier duty vice grizzles are working pretty good. I'm just gonna go ahead and take out some more of this extra bullshit factory put in here for no purpose at all. Got one of those. Nice. All right. So, now we got these tabs. We're like, you know, halfway done. Sure. So again, you may want to go ahead and reach for a tampon or something to put in here, but I've been putting a little guard tape down. You know, not that I would ever make a mistake or anything, but you know, if something does get away from me, less likelihood of shit popping and cracking, and you just gotta, you know, deal with all that. So just kind of move that out of the way. All right, come back in and do a little trim on this. Alright, those mugs up out the way. We'll clean them up a little more later. Get a little more room. These terminals, they're in the way too. Some of these I've just gone ahead and just broke them off. Others I've tried not to. You know, it's really up to you. Doesn't really matter. But what we got to do now is go in here and we've got to separate this copper angle thingy from the two tabs of batteries that are here. So you're going to go to a completely different procedure now. I don't know if you can see it really well, but these are spot welded in 3 locations on each one. Essentially what I'm doing is coming in here and clipping the spot weld out. Yeah. Try not to cause sparkage. But just coming in and cutting right down the line of that spot weld. Easier to do it sitting flat, but hopefully you guys can see this. It's worth what I'm doing here. Anyway, so we had 3 spot welds. Hopefully you can see that there. And what I've done is just cut along the lines of the spot welds. You may choose to grab the spot welds with some pliers, twist, pull it out there. You may choose to go back to automated milling machine, cut along there, and just cut each one of these things out. they both have the drawbacks. I've been doing the first couple by hand because sometimes, like this one, they just brittle. I don't know why they're so brittle, but they just pop right out. I guess the ones that had good welds, it seems like they'd be work hardened from the weld process, but maybe not. I don't know. Let's see, this one wants to be a little bitch, so give it a little bit more. There we go. Sorry, this is not a enjoyable video. This is just for the poor bastards that have bought these battery packs that want to have hopefully an easier way of tearing them down. I mean, I don't make it sound like it's just fucking awful, but it's certainly harder than I had hoped. Let's put it that way. Oh yeah, this is just like working the after-hours shift right here, baby. Oh yeah. So, by removing the spot welds, obviously this is still intact, but now the little battery tabs are freed up. See how they move? So now I can go in here and pry these apart with ye old utility knife, and they'll come apart. Not too much effort. Again, this is more of that good old twisting, jerking motion here, so there we go. I'm just going to keep repeating all these, and then we'll come back to this once I've got all these ripped apart.